Welcome to the Cricket Betting Podcast. I'm Ed Hawkins. This is the podcast which tells you exactly what happens in the T20 World Cup. This is the ultimate betting guide to the 2020 World Cup. We win you money on cricket. Our VIP channel has a return on investment of 8%. Sub up in the comments section below and get 50% off your first subscription. Tips straight to your phone and device every single day for all the live matches taking place. Our best bets, which are free, are on this podcast. They are up for 2026 at 47.5 and returned massive profits last year as well. So when we tell you what happens, we absolutely mean it. Paul Krishnamurty, best bets, plus 29.29 this year. Winners at 11 to 8, 9s, 18s last week. Absolutely insane service this is. Paul, are you ready for the World Cup?
Certainly am. I mean, this is a real buzz, this tournament. I mean, multiple games per day. That's a brilliant thing. More angles than usual, more markets than usual. And I think critically, for those of us who like to play runs, more liquidity on the exchanges. And in addition to that, I mean, I really enjoy India now. I enjoy cricket in India just because we've built up such experience on these grounds over the years in the IPL.
Richard Mann of sportinglife.com plus 17.60 for 2026. Winners at 5 to 6, 5 to 2 last week. Richard, one golden rule for this tournament, please.
Well, following on from what Paul said, I think it's got to be extreme runs, really. You only have to look at the 2025 IPL. We had some monster scores. The recent India series is against South Africa, New Zealand, some big scores as well. I think India and South Africa, they'd be the two powerhouse batting sides I'm looking at. I won't be surprised if we got a 300. Genuinely, I think it could happen if the cards fall right for one of those two batting lineups. Interesting what Paul said about grounds as well. I mean, I'm a big Bash fan, as listeners will know, and that's because I've built up such a knowledge of the grounds. But I feel like what Paul said, we're getting that in India now as well. So hopefully it'll stand us in good stead.
Talking of the ground guide, the all-important Paul Krishnamurty patented ground guide comes up on this show. The betting highlights from the venues on this show. We also reveal the winner of the T20 World Cup and the runner-up. Plus, how the tournament works, which is very, very important. The ground guide, as I said, your team rankings, your possible 11s, player win rates, and team strategies. We're doing the top 9, I think it is, of the teams, because obviously we've had to siphon off the teams which we don't think are going to threaten the outright market. So the top 9 in the betting. All you need for this show is your ears and a pen and paper, because the stats, trends, and strategies are coming thick and fast. We've also got the top associate players to follow on top bowler, top bat. We've dug those out for you as well. So we're not forgetting the associate teams, but we're going to start with the outright. Here we go. It's India 7 to 5 AK bets. Australia 5s with the same. England 11 to 2 generally. South Africa 6, 365 Fred. Boyles Bet Victor AK bets. The Kiwis at 14s. Pakistan at 16s with Betfred. 40 to 1 Windies with Betfred. Afghanistan the same with the same plus Sky Bet and Power. Sri Lanka 40 to 1 generally. Then we get to Ireland 500 to 1 and bar the rest. We're going to talk about some of these teams in a bit, of course, in depth. Richard, there will be blood. We said it in last week's show. Where is a shock coming from? There will be a shock, I'm sure of it. A sort of a best of the rest question, if you will.
Well, I mean, just today, actually, the United States have played India A, but it was I mean, as you would expect, it was a strong India A, and both teams to score 200. The United States made 200 in reply. They didn't win the game, but I still thought that was a mighty effort. I think they're a dangerous outfit, and just looking at the prices you mentioned as well, I do think West Indies are an awfully big price. Look, we'll get onto them later, and I know the Super 8 projections puts them up against it. But they've got pedigree in this competition. I think they're a big price of Windies.
Paul, a shot coming, you highlighted a fixture potentially, or maybe just a team that might do something?
Well, I was going to end up on saying the one has to be America to beat Pakistan, but Richard's already done that. So I'd say more broadly, Pakistan are vulnerable, right? I mean, I think all the three minnows in that group are capable in extreme circumstances of beating them. And with all of the politics and the distraction for Pakistan, they've got there's got to be a chance something happens there. I'd also say in Group B, you know, laugh if you feel free. But Australia could go wrong against Ireland or Zimbabwe. These games are in Sri Lanka, could be low scoring, could be, could be a big toss by somewhere. Ireland or Zimbabwe could plausibly pull off an upset in that game at a huge price.
Yeah, and Sri Lanka, I mean, that might go off about 2-1 against the Australians. I'm not sure we're going to see a repeat of the conditions that Australia struggled with in Pakistan across the tournament, but certainly in Sri Lanka. We're going to talk about how the format works, and that is really, really important. That's the main thing to get to grips with. But we're actually going to start off with a slightly different tack this time on the Cricket Betting Show, and it's full disclosure. Our VIP channel, as I mentioned, which you can sub up to in the comments below, is going very nicely indeed. And we have already put up our VIP bet for this tournament. It went up at lunchtime today as we record, and it was England to reach the final at 5-2 with Priced Up and Star Sports. And I'm going to explain a bit more behind that bet, the science, if you like. And that's all drawn in with how this tournament works. So we've got 20 teams in 4 groups at the initial group stage. The top 2 from each of those groups go through to the Super 8. And there are 2 Super 8 groups. The initial group phase is Group A, B, C, and D. Group A, we've got India, Pakistan, USA, Netherlands, and Namibia. Now, Pakistan boycotting their game against India are almost... they're up against it already without a ball bowled, because the points will go to India. Group B, Sri Lanka, Australia, Ireland, Zimbabwe, Oman. Group C, England, Windies, Scotland, Nepal, Italy. Group D, Kiwis, South Africa, Afghanistan. Group of death, if you like, Canada and UAE. No mugs, by the way, after getting some decent experience in the T20, some of those boys. Now, this is the important bit. No matter where teams finish, to qualify in that first group phase, they are seeded. So the Super 8 groups are already projected. And if the form book holds, they're going to look like this. India, Australia, South Africa, West Indies in Super 8 Group 1. In Super 8 Group 2, it's England, New Zealand, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. So just say, for the sake of argument, if England have a disaster and don't qualify with Scotland finishing second, Scotland will go into that Super 8 Group 2. If India finish second in Group A, they still go to Group 1 in the Super 8s. I think that's pretty clear. But let's talk about England. We've mentioned Pakistan, up against it, vulnerable against Netherlands, USA, Namibia. If Pakistan don't qualify, they can't get points against India. Netherlands, USA, Namibia, very live chance now, an increased chance now of getting into that Super 8 group with England. And England only have to finish in the top 2 of that group. England, New Zealand, Pakistan, with an asterisk by the name, and Sri Lanka, who they have, dominated. Paul, you want to explain why we're keen on England in terms of bat and ball? I mean, that's the science and the political machinations done.
Yeah. So, on top of that, you have the fact that if you look at the long-term T20 records of these 8 sides or 9 sides, there's quite a big gulf, really, between India, Australia, England at the top, of South Africa as well to some extent, and the rest, right? And England are avoiding the other 3 big guns. So they're clearly the favourites in those groups. Even if it is the best possible lineup, they're the favourites, right? Secondly, look at the nature of this tournament. Look at what happens in India. We're expecting huge runs. you're not going to win this tournament without getting well beyond 200 regularly. And frankly, England have just got a lot more muscle with a bat than these other sides. There's really, exception of India, Australia, and South Africa, I don't see anyone who can really compete. So you've got to, on that basis, all those things considered, expect they're going to reach the semi-finals. And at that stage, we've got 5-2. The worst thing that could happen is we get unlucky and we draw India, and they're still 5-2. But if they play anyone else, they're going to be even money. Worst ways, 11-10, possibly odds on.
Yeah, there you go. Paul talking about batting power. Number 2, England ranked on cumulative strike rate in all matches since the last World Cup. India, number 1, of course, but England, the only team getting close to India in terms of batting power. Rich, there is consensus among the Cricket Betting Podcast crew on this bet, isn't there?
There is, especially over the last week. It's not always the case, but they actually look really settled, a far cry from the Ashes, different format, of course. Fearsome opening pair, I mean, might well be as destructive as any opening pair in the competition. They've got experience as well. I mean, Butler's so experienced. Brooks a world beater in the making, particularly against the white ball. And look, Curran and Banton in that middle order, and I do hope Banton keeps his place. I'm a big fan of both. They've dominated franchise competitions around the world. Think of the IL-20, the Big Bash. So the batting has got so much going for it. Rashid's probably the best spinner in the tournament. Adil Rashid, I'd have him above Rashid Khan now. I think Dawson's a lovely foil for him, by the way, as well. A defensive bowler. And then actually gives them real pace, and I wouldn't discount Sam Curran with the ball as well. Very canny. He's got a man of the match in a World Cup T20 final in Australia a few years back. Tick a lot of boxes, but more than anything, I just like how settled they are. You can name your 11 now if everyone's fit, and yet you look at some of the other teams. I mean, where's Australia's starting 11? Who knows? I think England have got an awful lot going for them, not least the draw, which has obviously fallen nicely into place.
Draw is very nice indeed, and those possible 11s that Richard mentioned, we've had a go at them. England very easy, as he said. Australia did struggle with Australia picking this 11. I always say it on this show, don't I? If you're struggling to pick your 11, that is a bit of a klaxon going off. In terms of win percentages since that last T20 World Cup, and by the way, all our stats for this show in terms of player win rates, trends, and what have you, they are all taken since the end of the last T20 World Cup at 30th of June 2024. India win rate percentage is bonkers, 82%. Australia not far behind on 71%, but losing 3-0 to Pakistan has dented that. England not far off at all, 67%. The Kiwis next best at 59%. We'll talk about the Kiwis in a bit. But there we go. We've talked about England's value there on a charge to the final. Let's go to Paul Krishnamurti for the painted ground guide. And what are the betting highlights, Paul?
Okay, so 8 grounds in total. We're only going to really bother with 7 because the Sinhalese sports ground, total guesswork, all the form is really old. So first of all, we'll start in Sri Lanka, the standout unders ground of the tournament. I mean, really, this is the unders ground by a huge distance. It's the Premadasa Stadium. So in 12 matches there, in a 5-year sample, only 3 first innings reached 160, nothing 180 or more, and 8 out of 12 were 140 or under 140, which is nothing like any other ground of competition. 10 out of 12 matches were under 10 sixes. Again, nothing like anywhere else. And in addition to that, there's a 10-2 chaser bias in those 12 games. The other ground in Sri Lanka is the Pallekele, Kandy, which has seen that in the England series. This is a decent ground for high scores, albeit not in the same league as the India ground, which we're going to get to now. So 5 grounds in India. Let's rank these 1 to 5. At the bottom. So again, stand out at the bottom, easily the lowest scoring ground out of 5 is Chennai. 3 out of 4 matches there produced fewer than 15 sixes. 2 out of 3 first innings, sub 180. There's an 11-5 bias to the chasers in the last 2 years there. One thing I would say here, though, is that these low scores come later in the competition when the conditions slow up, right? We've seen this in the IPL year after year. Number 4, and this says something about how high scoring the others are, is Mumbai. Mumbai is a big scoring ground, small ground, very high sixes. 40% first innings, 200 plus last 2 years. But the pitches are a bit mixed there. Sometimes it's good for bowlers early on. Big angle here is betting late runs, betting overs in the second half of the innings. You could probably go at 11, 12 and over after the 10th over there. Third place are Medabad, which has become super reliable for overs. 200 par is definitely above 200, maybe 205, and six is around 18.5, 19, I would say average. Second, Kolkata, Eden Gardens, old ground, too small for the modern game, potentially huge sixes. The runs line is well above 200, 205, 210, and you would expect more than 26s on average there. And number one is Delhi. Again, old ground, too small. 6 out of the last 13 first innings here were 220 or more. So the par is like 218, 217. 24 of the last 25 first innings here were 160 plus. And one final angle about Delhi is there's a 10-3 defender bias in the last 2 years.
Lovely stuff. I did say you needed a pen and paper, didn't I? We're going to be revisiting all these angles from all those grounds throughout the tournament on that VIP channel. You've got to get subbed up if you want to keep making money on this tournament. We're going to do it. Let's get some teams on. Fab stuff, Paul. We're going to look at the top 9 in the betting. As I said, we've got nuggets for some of these teams as well and trends. We're going to go in reverse price order. So we do start with Sri Lanka 40-1 generally. Joint hosts, of course. 11-4 for a semi-final berth with BetMGM Virgin Bet. 14-1 to make the final with 365. A 41% win rate. On batting power, they are ranked 8th out of 9th. And bowling economy is much better at number 4. They more than treble their chances of winning in terms of win-loss ratio, batting second. Just 0.3 win-loss ratio, batting first. Possible 11, Nissanka, Mishara, Kusal, Rathanayaka, Asalanka, Shanaka, Leonage, Hasaranga, Wellalage, Madashanano or Chamira. That injury to Malinga is unfortunate for him. Means he's almost certainly out of the tournament. Patarana, the death bowler, Paul. Sri Lanka looked a poor team against England. You called it. They're going to try and win attritional matches. But an easier Super 8 if they can get out of their group.
Yeah, I think so. And they should get out of the group. It's not certainty, but they're at home. They're heavy odds on to beat Zimbabwe and Ireland at home. They could well beat Australia. Look, they're a second division side. We've seen that in this series against England. Quite a big class golf, really. But they're still a decent player, decent side who can put a decent 11 together. The openers are very good. Hasaranga's a world-class spinner. Patharana, if he gets it going, is a superb death bowler. And they're in the easier group. So I don't think you can write them off. And there's, if you want a long shot bet, I think 40-1 each way is not terrible. And I think it's 4-1 to win the group out there. That's not terrible.
A good trade team, I think, Sri Lanka batting first because of what they can do in the power play with those front. They're absolutely loaded up top with Nissanka, Mishara and Kusal. That's their strength. And we've seen in that England series the England price drifting when Nissanka and all get going in that power play. Richard, chances?
I just don't think they have the batting power. I mean, your numbers said it at the top, didn't they? Look, if we're talking about winning the comp, they'll get out of the group, and I just think this tournament's going to be won by teams who are capable of scoring 220, 230, 240, maybe 250, and I just don't think they are capable of doing that. And actually, and I've been a bit surprised by this, the bowling hasn't looked great on the flat pitches at Pallachelly either. I thought it would have shown up a bit better, but Hasaranga was taken to the cleaners by Brook. I just think, however far they progress, ultimately they're going to be outgunned.
Have you got a nugget for Sri Lanka, Paul? I mean, I've already done a sort of a bit of a trade angle, but anything else to add?
Well, I'm just going to say, I think that I would be really into Pathum Nissanka top bat against the lesser teams. He strikes me as very reliable against lesser opposition.
Rich, another.
Yeah, well, I can jump on with that because it's nice to see Shanaka back and playing well. He generally goes off 10s, 12s. He's got an insane record in the top batsman market, long term. He generally just wins one every now and then, more than every 1 in 10 anyway, and generally against the better sides when the top order find it difficult. So, very handy finisher. I suspect he'll win the top batsman market once in this tournament and more than pay his way.
He only needs to win once. Who are your win rates to follow here on the tops for Sri Lanka? Well, Paul's mentioned it. Nissanka winning 34% of the time in all matches since the last World Cup. These are big study samples. So we've got good numbers behind these players. And Chamira, 33%. Bizarrely can't seem to get into this Sri Lanka team as the most reliable wicket taker. But keep an eye on him. When he does come in, you're going to be getting, well, at least 7-2. Maybe as big as 4s. Next up, Afghanistan, 40-1 to win with Betfred, 11-4 Virgin Bet MGM to make a semi-final, 11s for the final. If they make it to the Super 8s, they go into Group 2 with England, New Zealand and Pakistan. A win percentage rate of 57%, a batting rank of 9, bowling economy number 1. They are much better. They are much better batting first and second. The win ratio trebles first to second. Possible 11 for you: Gurbaz, Zadran, Atal, Rasuli, Morzai, Naib, Nabi, Rashid, Majib, Noor, and Faruqi. Richard, big prices about Afghanistan. We've spoken about them in ICC events. We've been keen on them. We think they're a 50-over team, no.
We do. I'm just not a believer in this format, especially if pitches are good for runs. I think they've had better chances than this actually in ICC events. The thing about it, I look at this team and I don't think it's any better, this Afghanistan team, than it was 4 or 5 years ago. It's essentially the same players. But then you look at the opposition we're going to get to. Those big guns have all progressed, made giant strides. I mean, the game India's playing now and South African. I just think Afghanistan are where they were 4 years ago. I just can't believe they're good enough to win it now.
All chances for the Afghans?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Rich, really. I mean, look, I like Afghanistan a lot. I've liked them a lot over the years, but they haven't really progressed. And interesting statistic, last 5 years against the top 8 sides, they've won 11, lost 23 in this format. And if you look at where they're usually playing in the Gulf, which is basically a home game for them. So it doesn't strike for me. And, you know, as Rich was saying, you look for like this tournament, you want teams that are going to get you 220s, 230s. They don't look up to it. I mean, there is an argument to be had, and we'll probably discuss this with other teams. Do you want a bowling in a high scoring match? Do you want to focus on the bowling quality or batting quality? I personally think batting quality is more important, but if we're wrong, then they would have a chance.
Your top bat and bowler win rates coming up in a second, but other ways to play, Rich, and then Paul again.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot. I just, as soon as I get near favouritism for individual games, I'd be keen to take them on, but no real strong in play views.
Paul?
Not a lot either. I was looking, I've seen Nabi generally goes off a decent price in the middle order.
Okay, top bat and bowler win rates are Zadran, very reliable, 35% for your bat, and Rashid Khan making a surprise entry, actually, because he's not actually been that reliable on win rate down the years, but 38% of the time since the last World Cup. So has really come to the fore and living up to his reputation there. And that's not often we've been able to say that about Rashid Khan. Thank you very much, guys. We are doing team guide in reverse price order. So we've still got a winner and runner up still to be named from Paul and Richard. We've got the West Indies next. Twice winners of this competition, 12-1 generally to make the final, 40-1 with Betfred to win it, 13-4 Bet MGM Virgin Bet for a semi-final berth. They're going to have to usurp one of Australia, India, South Africa to make the semi-finals, probably in that Super 8 group. 33% win rate, lowest of the top 9. They are ranked for batting and bowling Power at 6 and 7. Possible 11, Hope, King, Hetmeyer, Chase, Powell, Shepherd, Holder, Akil, Moti, Ford, Shamar. And as we said so many times before, that batting order will change, guaranteed. Paul, sum up West Indies.
Well, Rich mentioned before as a kind of lively outsider, and I agree. I mean, I note that one big angle in this tournament is that, the grounds, there's a big differential in some of these grounds and the scoring. All 7 of their games up to a semi-final are on high-scoring grounds. I think that suits them. They have got power galore. There is a scenario where Hope builds a nice platform and then you leave it to Powell and Rutherford and Shepherd at the end and they go absolutely berserk and hit big scores. And if they do that, they can beat the likes of Australia or South Africa in one game. And, I'm not predicting this will happen, but it's a big price. And you being in that better group might actually help them in a perverse way because all the rest could cut each other up and you could end up sneaking through somehow. Right, just win 2 close games. So I wouldn't put someone off playing at a big price.
Richard.
Yeah, I'm of the same view. I was looking earlier. I think there were 50s on the Betfair exchange. There've been 70s over the weekend. It wouldn't surprise me if the Drift wants us more money up there. Look, the batting's just so dangerous if conditions are good. Hetmeyer's flying, which is key. Hope is class. Rutherford outstanding in the SA20, and they're bat deep. The bowling's okay, but actually, when you look through a lot of these sides, you'd say the batting's their stronger suits. So the West Indies aren't alone in that fact. They're going to rely on hitting big scores. I think Sammy as coach is key. Twice a World Cup winning captain. I think they're definitely on the up. If this tournament was to blow open and we do get a big prize winner, who were capable of doing that? And you'd definitely say this side. I think that recent series in South Africa, I know they lost it, but it was high scoring, made 200 twice against South Africa. I think that's a strong piece of form. South Africa 13-2, and I've no issues with that. We'll get onto them in a minute. West Indies, 50, 60 on the exchange by the off. I mean, it's very tempting.
Best ways to play West Indies, Paul. I mean, I've got a note about just taking on their bowlers. Defending any sort of score of more than 200.
Yeah, go along with that. And I mean, I think it's overs galore in those games, high scoring games. They'll concede a lot, they'll score a lot. And also, I mean, certainly in the Mumbai games, late runs. If you've got Powell and Rutherford and Shepherd at the death, then it could do anything.
Richard Mann.
Exactly what Paul said. Big scores, late runs.
All right, your players to follow for the West Indies are Hope with a win rate of 28%, and with the ball, it's Shepherd 31%. Asterisk by his name, though, didn't even bowl in their last game against South Africa, so and hadn't bowled his full quota in the previous 2. I mean, that is a bit of a warning klaxon for me in terms of West Indies and their thinking. Why have they not recognised yet that Romario Shepherd's by far and away the most prolific bowler? I can't really work it out. A reminder then to sub up to that VIP channel in the comments section below. There's a 50% off offer running right now. Already had a 10-1 winner this month. It's only the second day of the month. We made 17 points clear in January. So get involved with that. Next team is Pakistan, 16s with AAA and Bet Victor to win it. Impressive against Australia, but they're already points down in terms of boycotting that India game. Will they get out of a group, including India, Netherlands, Namibia, USA? The 57% win rate is not too shabby. They're ranked number 2 for bowling. They are ranked number 7 for batting. Paul, how costly is the India boycott going to be?
Brain damage, isn't it? It's like just a sort of known unknown that you don't like to throw in, but all the recent evidence suggests it's going to be bad. I mean, they haven't performed in big tournaments. It's not that I don't like the side. I think they're an improving side. I think they're very well balanced. They've got loads of good all-rounders and spin. But it's a massive, massive distraction. You can't help but think that a couple of weeks in, they might want to go home.
Richard, give me your views on Pakistan. I'm conscious I've not given you their possible 11, but I'll let me hear from Richard first.
Yeah, well, much better than I expected against Australia, albeit in conditions that they were well suited to. I think Sayamayo up at the top is key. He did us a few favours last week, but if he gets them off to a quick start, they can make good scores because I think Baba, he'll get runs, but he will slow them down in the middle. They've been crying out for a world-class spinner, and Abra has been absolutely fantastic. So we've got that box ticked. But as Paul said, the off-field stuff is just a huge negative. You've just got to have great sympathy with them. It's not the player's fault, is it? But he just cannot help. I mean, a World Cup in India, I mean, God help them, really. I think they're up against it through no fault of their own.
Dark arts we haven't mentioned yet on this show, but Pakistan cannot possibly win anything India. I've been saying that for about 20 years. Righty, possible 11 for you. I did promise. Let me go for the openers first. Farhan actually lost his place to Pakistan in that last game against Australia, but Farhan is very hit and miss. I think Pakistan know that. So Farhan and Ayab opening the batting. Salman Agra at number 3, Babur at 4, Usman Khan 5, Shadab Khan 6, Nawaz 7, Fahim Ashraf always making an appearance as well last time out against Australia at number 8, and then Abra Ahmed, Naseem Shah 9, 10, and Shaheen Shah Afridi will actually be batting higher than those two, completing your possible 11. Other angles on Pakistan, guys? Paul?
The only thing that really strikes me is I do like the most sixes market and backing one of those openers. I prefer Farhan generally, but Ayub's also fantastic record hitting sixes. And I just think they're overpriced. And he lost, he didn't win any last week, Farhan, so maybe his odds will drift a little bit.
Yes, he was going off a bit short, wasn't he? Rich, and we've done sort of shocks. We've highlighted Pakistan, why they're vulnerable. Anything else to add on them?
Well, we were keen on saying Maya weren't we in the player performance markets last week. Obviously his line's going to go up after a little bit of success. The key to him is he's playing as an all-rounder and he's bowling. So just look at those teams when they're playing against left-handed opening batsmen. That's when he'll bowl as the right arm off spinner. Good chance of picking up wickets in the power play when he's against the lefties. So that's probably when I'd be playing.
Player win rates in terms of your top bat and your top bowler. Well, I mean, Mohamed Nawaz, I think he's the top wicket taker in the last 12 months in T20 with 44 wickets and taking a wicket every 12.6 balls. So it won't surprise you to know that he's winning top bowler at, I think it's about sort of 27% of the time. I've just momentarily mislaid my stats on Pakistan. Here we go. Mohamed Nawaz winning 24% of the time, 7 wins in 29. As I said, these study samples are really nice and chunky now. And your top bowler, there's not a huge amount to go on, actually. Babar Azam, 26.6%. Salman Abba, 16%, but has been promoted to number 3, which is interesting. Maybe some firms might make a mistake there. Where are we? We have 4 teams down. So we'll take the opportunity to have a brief interlude to remind us that there are associate teams in this T20 World Cup. Pens and papers at the ready because we're picking out the top 3 batters on win rates for the associate teams, and really good numbers here. And most likely to use these against fellow associate teams. Not quite so sure that the form book will hide against the big boys, but Mohamed Wasim, the UAE opener, 40%. Fantastic record. Jatinder Singh for Oman, winning at the same rate, 40%. And Brian Bennett, probably would go with him actually against some of the bigger teams because he has done it consistently against tougher opposition, 36%. By the way, we've got a bowler when we look at the associate teams bowling markets to follow with a massive 52% win rate from 17 matches. So let's get back to the team guide. This is the bit where we say New Zealand are underrated again. 11-2 Star priced up for the final. 3-4 MGM and Virgin Bet for a semi-final. Could that be the price of the tournament? 4th best win rate on 59%, ranked number 4 and 6 on bat and ball respectively. This is their 11. It's evolution rather than revolution. Allen, Seifert, Ravinder, Chapman, Phillips, Mitchell, Bracewell, Santner, Sodhi, Duffy, and Henry. I like this 11, Paul.
It's a likeable side for sure. It's solid, but I've got problems with them. I think, firstly, this is a super hard group. I mean, Afghanistan not going to be a pushover for New Zealand at all. I think South Africa are a very good side. Um, it does suit them that most of their games are on low scoring grounds because they're not ideally suited to the high scoring stuff. But I don't think they're certain to go. Also, add that UAE, who are one of the better minnows for sure, are in that group. I could see things going wrong for them. And look, that group, that Super 8 group, what we're looking at England for sure. Pakistan, we've got a big question mark over. Sri Lanka, we think will get into it. And probably New Zealand, right? That's what the form book would say. If they're playing Sri Lanka away, that's a 50-50 game for me. So I'd avoid them. Even I understand. I mean, I generally think they're overpriced, but I think there's a lot that could go wrong.
Rich, you've been very negative about them because we talk about big boy power, but Allen and Seifert are absolute fire starters up top. Have they evolved just in time?
Finally, I'm pleased Finn Allen got the gig. Yeah, they just needed to catch up, didn't they? And they've done that. I do hope he starts, though. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a certainty that they don't go with Devon Conway, which would just be incredible.
Well, your klaxon's just going off then, isn't it, with New Zealand if they do that?
Yeah, I
You'll
really
probably rule
hope.
them out.
Yeah, I really hope they don't. But I'm with Paul. I just worry that I think it's a good side. We always say that, but I just look at the other batting lineups, and I think are there stronger batting lineups in the competition, and there are. And then you think of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and there's probably 4 or 5 batting lineups that are stronger, more powerful once we get to the latter stages, and that's the issue. And I think that's where they'll come up short.
Have you got a nugget on New Zealand, Paul?
Just to back Glenn Phillips wherever you can, top bat, man of the match.
Rich?
Yeah, well, just on that, I mean, we're looking for the individual team top batsman markets. We'll obviously be updating, but Phillips firmly on my radar. I think it's a big tournament for him. The other one, just game by game, Mitch Santner. He just wins in his turn. He generally goes off 25s, 33s, and I think he won against the West Indies, and I think he was a winner against India recently as well. So again, if you just stick with him, he'll pay his way.
Top bowler and bat bets to follow really good numbers here from Duffy, 40% of the time, and Tim Seifert, 38% of the time. You are getting value on your win rates on those markets, guaranteed, bat and bowler respectively. South Africa next. They are the runners up last time, managed to lose to India, didn't they, from that such a solid winning position with Klaasen going well, but it was close but no cigar, 6-1 to win it, 3-1, 365, and Hills for a final. The win rate is only 38%, though, in all matches since that last World Cup. They are bottom on bowling economy, and they're only number 5 on batting power. Why is everybody raving about South Africa? Why are they 4 favourites to win this competition? They've got no numbers at all to back them up. Then I'll give you the possible 11. De Kock, Markram, Rickleton, Brevis, Stubbs, Jason Smith, Lind, Bosch, Janssen, Maharaj, Rabada. That is why. Rich, where are you at with South Africa?
Yeah, I'm a believer again. I have been for a while, and then their preliminary squad didn't fill me with excitement, but I think Rickleton and Stubbs coming back in, Disasi and Ferreira. I mean, Ferreira's a bit of a loss, but I think Disasi for Rickleton or Stubbs, I think things have worked out for them well there. De Kock is like a new signing coming back into international cricket, and boy, he's been outstanding since his return. And then you just look at the recent SA20. I mean, Brevis he's got the world at his feet. Stubbs won Sunrise as a final with a brilliant run chase. And I think the bowling's pretty good. Rabada, he's going under the radar, but you look at his recent numbers, he's bowling really well. And to me, he's landing them Yorkers perfectly. They've got good spin. Final thing I'd add, I obviously like them. Captaincy, I think, is going to be really important and not really talked about enough in this World Cup. So England have got Harry Brook. It does concern me a little bit. India had great success in white ball formats, but that was all with Rohit Sharma. Now someone else has got to take that on. It's big pressure for a home nation. Whereas you look at Markram, He's been around South Africa's recent success. Cool guy, obviously won them the World Test final, done really well captaining in the SA20. I think for me, he's the best captain in the competition. I think that's a big tick in the favour in a high pressure tournament.
Paul, you've been keen on South Africa for a while, I mean, across most formats actually, but they've got a very tough route to the semi-final.
That's the negative. That is the negative. I mean, if they didn't have that, I'd be all over South Africa for this tournament. I really like everything about this side, and I think their record since the World Cup is not that great, but I think that is also disguised a little bit by they've got as many options as India. They've just got so many players that can play, and there's such churn in some of these series. But we're going to get a first choice lineup here, and it's brilliant. I mean, Rich just went through the batting there. Fantastic. Absolute fact. Power all the way. But, also to me, I think Corbin Bosch and Marco Jansen in the middle order, two all-rounders, really valuable players. Maharaj, too, very good economical, underrated spin bowler. I think they can get through the group. And then, yes, they've got the harder group, but they shouldn't fear anybody. They're the coming side in world cricket.
Let's have a nugget, Rich. Well, you don't have to give me one, but if you've got one.
No, massive runs. I think I said at the top, these and India somewhere along the way, there could be a 300. And look, if De Kock and Markham get them off to a good start and then Brevis takes over, bing, bang, bing, bang, bosh.
Paul.
100% is exactly what I've got. And looking at the grounds, 7 out of 7 games up to the semis on high scoring grounds, they're going to be. They could well get the 250 pluses on more than one occasion.
Your players to follow is not much to go on in terms of study sample for De Kock. He has won 4 of the last 10. I wouldn't expect him to be winning at 40%, but I would expect him to be winning very close to 30%. Over a longer study period, and a bit of nominative determinism. It's Bosch, 8 wins from 16 on your top bowler, and you're going to be getting very decent odds indeed on Bosch to Bosch. Just a note on Rabada, 0 wins in 8. That sequence will not continue. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Richard. The business end is approaching. A little interlude now. The top 3 in the betting still to come. Quick backtrack to those associate bowlers to follow. Pens and paper at the ready. These are your top 3 bowler win rates. Let's do them in reverse order. It's Stuart Duller for the UAE, winning 30% of the time. Kevin Klein at 40% for the Dutch, and a winner on the VIP for us a couple of times. I think last year, Zimbabwe's Bradley Evans, an absolutely bonkers rate of 52.9% from 17 games. Paul, we're winning loads of money on best bets. We normally have 5 units to spend. We're not doing that this week, normally at the end of the show, but prices in short supply. So we're going to put those on the channels, aren't we?
Yeah. So we'll do best bets. Hopefully, I mean, bookies are very slow to come out at the moment. You'd hope by Wednesday it'd all be up and we can do it, but latest Thursday.
All right, business time. India, Australia, and England to go. England are our pick to make the final. We've put our cards on the table. They are 11-2 to win it. Generally, they're third favourites. No better than 2s now to make that final after our VIP gang smashed it. The 5-2 price is gone. The 67% win rate. Number 2 on batting power. They are 8th out of 9th on bowling economy. I think Archer makes a difference, and we know Adil Rashid certainly does make a difference in Asia. Possible 11: Salt, Butler, Bethel, Brook, Bantam, Curran, Jacks, Overton, Dawson, Archer, Rashid. They are slightly better chasers, by the way. Paul, it's obvious we like them. We think they're going to make it out the Super 8, but do they actually win it?
Well, I'm going to say no, because there's a 7-5 favourite that I think we all think has got a massive chance. But they've got a great chance. I think you can get to I'm confident they'll get to at least the semis and have a very good chance of winning it from there. They are natural T20 side. They've got a far superior record than all the teams they're going to play for at the semis. With the big scores needed, not only have they got all that power up top, but if it goes wrong, they've actually got really solid depth there. I mean, Overton's been great finishing, hasn't he? Curran's a great finisher. And you go down, I mean, Jofra Archer, we saw in the Ashes, Jofra Archer is no mug with a bat whatsoever, and he's going to be batting at 10. So, and again, as you said, with the bowling, I mean, he's a massive asset in T20 cricket. We've seen it in the IPL. He's a fantastic bowler at this level. So, no reason not to be confident for England at all.
Rich, I mean, you touched on the bowling. You can get caught up in numbers, eighth out of ninth on bowling economy, but we've done some stats work on Rashid, haven't we, recently, in terms of what he does in Asia in this format, and he's just so reliable. It's probably a false impression, and Archer obviously coming back is dangerous up front.
Yeah, I think it is the weaker suit, but as I've said, there are lots of sides in this competition, probably bar India. Their batting is a strength, and they'll hope that they can chase down 200, 220, and England are no different. Their two outstanding bowlers are outstanding in this format, Archer and Rashid, and the others will just try and do their bit, really. I wouldn't, like I say, I wouldn't underestimate Dawson. I think he's a canny cricketer. He's not going to take loads of wickets, but he'd be a nice foil, and Curran's got previous. I think it's just about okay, the bowling. Batting's great, lots of experience. Like Paul said, they're natural T20 side, and crucially, they've got a little bit of that momentum, that word I usually hear.
Best way to play otherwise, Rick, Paul?
Well, we've got to reach the final. I would just say the golden rule of the Cricket Betting Podcast is back Jos Buttler, isn't it? It always has been.
Yeah, he's well overdue, Jos Buttler, coming into this tournament if he hasn't won already. And one from you, Richard.
Well, I mean, in the franchise competitions, bookmakers were wise and stopped putting prices up. Sam Curran player performance, which was very annoying for us. But hopefully, World Cup, they'll offer a few prices up, and he's just been so reliable.
We will be having player performance bets on some associates, so done some work on that. Just hope we get the right men quoted. Top bats to follow. Salt 6 wins from 17, 35%. Wickets absolutely shared around with England, and not huge study samples to go on apart from Rashid, 4 wins from 18, 22%. Obviously, he's going to be shorter than, way shorter than fours. That's England done. Obviously, we said we're very, very keen on England to do some business in this tournament, and perhaps they should even be ahead of Australia in the betting. With the Aussies losing badly 3-0 to Australia, a 71% win rate for the Aussies, though, since the end of that last World Cup, 7-4 with start and priced up to make a final. They are solid on your powering rankings, 3rd and 5th, respectively, with the bat and the ball. As I said earlier, did have a little bit of a struggle to pick the best 11. But this is what we've got. Head, Marsh, Green, Inglis, Tim David coming back into the team. We think there's no update on that hamstring injury, but he's in the squad. Stoinis, Maxwell, Connolly, if they want to be using an extra spinner as a foil for Zampa, and then Ellis and Hazelwood. Pat Cummins, of course, ruled out. Green obviously be used as a third seamer. Rich, you never write off Australia in ICC events, but comparative T20, they've not been an outstanding T20 side, have they?
No, dire preparation for them as well. I mean, no Cummins, Stark's retired from this format. That hasn't been spoken about enough. Hazelwood's in the squad, and we understand he's going to play later in the tournament, but he's not going to start. They'll obviously have him for the money games. And then just, to me, some seriously out-of-form cricketers. I mean, Connolly's record with the bat for Australia so far is horrendous. He's done more with the ball. Maxwell, terrible in the bash. And as you said, Tim David coming off the back of injury. They've not got a lot of natural players against spin, and that was highlighted against Pakistan. If they get in spinning conditions, they are vulnerable. I'm loath to rule them out because they generally turn it on in these ICC events, but my God, it's just been a terrible preparation. They look a shocking price as second favourites, all things considered.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it, Paul? I mean, it always comes back to price, doesn't it? You just can't really argue that Australia are a wrong price in terms of you've got to back them. Is that right?
Yeah, and the other way around. I mean, they are overrated here. They can win. There's no doubt. There's world-class players in there. They've got some superb batsmen in that side, and they could win those big scoring games. But they're too short. And again, go back to last week against Pakistan. They were so overrated in some of those games. You had Pakistan like looking certain to post 180 plus, and they were still like 1.7, 1.8, as if Australia were going to chase that back in second. I've got big problems with them. I think the bowling's just going to be too expensive out there. I think they're really going to struggle at the Premadasa. And really, they've got the harder group. I mean, I can't see how. Look, I know. Okay, South Africa got a harder group to start with, but if that is the Super Eights, I cannot see how Australia are legitimately favourites against South Africa, personally.
All righty. Let's have a nugget for Australia from Richard Mann, please.
Well, we're blowing on Trump. We've been talking about him for a while, but Marcus Stoinis, top Australia batsman, he got our February off to a perfect start, 10-1 winner. But he's one of the few in there who's got real strong form at the moment, and obviously got good IPL record as well. So if he's going off anywhere near double figures, we'll have some of that. I suppose just throw this back to you guys. Is this the team then? Given that they'll probably start almost every match as odds on favourites, is this the team that we look to get beat every time they go odds on? Are we getting at them? I am personally of that view.
Well, I mean, Paul mentioned the Prima Dasa there. Australia versus Ireland there, Feb 11. Australia versus Zimbabwe there, Feb 13. I think that Zimbabwe game with Raza putting out all the tricks, pace off on that surface. That is a potential shock. Paul, Nuggets, anything to add?
Well, building on that, I mean, yes, absolutely happy to look to opposing them to win the match, but the run lines as well. Their run lines are going to be too high. I'm just really confident of that. And again, you get to Premadasa, we've seen this, 250 is a good score at Premadasa. If Australia bat first, their pass still going to be 290, 300 because it's Australia. So you've just got to go unders.
All right. Your players to follow for Australia on top bat is Cameron Green, 41.6%. He won for us at 10-1 at the end of January on your VIP channel. Dwarshuis, who I don't actually think is going to get into this team, 54% top bowler, just squeezes in from 11 games. There we go. We're almost at the business end of this selection. We've got India to do. I'm just going to come to Paul Krishnamurty first on India, because we're often trying to get short price favourites beat, aren't we? But at what stage, Paul, do you just recognise, well, they're winning plus 80% of the time. Their batting is the best in the tournament. With the ball, they've got Bumrah. They could play Varane, and they could play Kuldeep if they wanted to.
They are undoubtedly for the correct price. They're not too short. They are overwhelming favourites. But I still would say that given the nature of the format and also the grounds, once you get into that knockout, the last two games, if they play, for example, England in the semi, and England put 230 on, well, you wouldn't want to be on 11-8 for the tournament, would you? Right? Because even if India are going to chase that 230 down, England are going to be favourites at that point for that game. So their odds would drift. One way, I'm going to just say, I am backing them. Friend of the show, Rod Studd, long-term friend of the show, sent me a cracking bet this morning, which was live score bet, BetMGM, Virgin Bet. We're offering 13-2 India go unbeaten through the tournament. What a bet that is. What a fantastic bet. It's actually come down now. It's 19-4, but that's still a big price. If you look at it, you know, they're not playing Pakistan, so they're almost certainly going to win 3 from 3 in the first round. And then you're betting on winning 5 matches. I think the accumulator doesn't pay anything like that. And of course, what you'd hope for is just get through the Super 8s with 3 wins. And then you've got 19-4 and winning the title, which would be fantastic.
I'll give you a possible 11 for you, and it's difficult. It's difficult to find a hole, but Ishan, who looks likely to usurp Sanju Samson with just a tremendous run of form, so he's going to open the batting with Abhishek Sharma, whose record is just absolutely ridiculous. He's striking at 220 in the last 12 months, and with that sort of number, you think, he probably averages only 20. 24, something like that, which would be absolutely fair enough. He averages almost 45 striking at 220. Then you've got Suryakar Yamad at number 3. Tilak Varma is coming back from injury. Rinku, Hardik Dubey, Aksar, Kuldeep or Varun, Arshdeep and Bumrah. Rich, your thoughts on India?
Well, look, they're an outstanding team, obviously. Tick so many boxes. The batting, they seem to have decided that they're going to try and take the game, this format, to a new level, and they just go out every time, and they're trying to hit 250, 260, aren't they? And with the batting they got, they certainly look capable of that against New Zealand. All I would say is, and this is the format nowadays, but it is high risk, isn't it? And they could go to a semi-final and try and get 260 and get rolled out for 160 and lose the game. That is the nature of the beast, but just when you're talking about an 11-8 shot, it does put me off. The other thing that nagging doubt, I've talked about captaincy and no Rowett. I definitely won't underestimate how important that is. And then when you just look at the success that they have had at recent ICC events, it has been experienced heads who have got them over the line. That last T20 World Cup final win, Kohli, the batting really fell apart, and it was Kohli and Aksar who got them back into that game, but particularly Kohli held the innings together. And then Bumrah won the game with a ball. He's obviously here now, but Kohli's gone, Rowett's captaincy's gone. Rowett was captain when they won the 50-over Champions Trophy last year. KL Rahul got them home. It is a younger side with less experience. And those champion players, albeit they needed to move on from this format, aren't there. I'm just looking for negatives. I do think that the lighter on that legend experience, Bumrah really, they're probably the only one. I'm trying to pick holes here purely on price.
They are ranked number 1, of course, for batting strike rate over the last, since 30th June 2024, since the end of that last World Cup, which of course they won. Paul, nuggets and other ways to play?
Yeah, just get back again to the price again. That World Cup final, when Bumrah won it for them, the South Africa needed whatever it was, like 36 or 35. What price were India at that point in time? Probably bigger than they were at the start.
They hit 5-2. I'd actually backed them in running. They hit 5-2. Yeah,
there you go. That's why it makes no sense to back them short. 2 angles. First of all, I would say I expect Varun Chakravarti will play, and I think his performance is rock solid. I think everyone's going to struggle against him. And I'll just say on these runs, so this is a strategy that I'm going to be doing a lot, especially on those Indian grounds, which is middling pre innings. Now, with the plus 200 scores expected, the market goes a bit all over the place. So let's say that the par line is 215, right? You take even money or 11-10, 215. You might be able to lay with India 260 at 4-1 at the same time. You might be able to get like a 40-50 run middle there at like 9-4 to 3-1, something like that. I did that the other day in the New Zealand game. It didn't win, but it did set the bet up, which is all I'm looking for, is to have that middle, and then with 8 overs to go, 5 overs to go, you know it's coming one side or the other generally, and you just get out and have the saver. So that would be my plan for them.
Ranked number 3, on bowling economy. I think they've pretty much held on to those rankings since the start of the last World Cup. So form absolutely has held. Top batsman to follow, I've mentioned him earlier, Abhishek, 10 wins from 25, 40% hit rate. With the ball, it's Kuldeep, 6 wins from 13, although they may well go with Varun ahead of Kuldeep. Potentially on spinning surface, of course, they'll play both of them. Maybe want to wait for the toss and see which one is in and which one is not. Varun winning 21% of the time. I think more to add on India. I'm going to see no one's lips moving on to suggest.
Do we think Bumrah will be rested at some point? He wasn't in the last T20 World Cup, but more injuries. I'm just thinking of that top bowler market you've referenced there. Try and just keep in mind, right, that this might be the game they might rest him for, and then you move. Obviously, he takes up such a big chunk. He's had so many injuries. I wonder if they'll try and mind him through the competition.
Definitely think that's going to happen against a team which they're expected to beat, India, with Bumrah, and add that thought to any top bowler coupons for the tournament that you see, please. Top bowler tournament and top tournament batsman. We're going to be looking at those prices, and they're going to be VIP'd, so to speak, on that VIP channel. Get subbed up in the comments section below. We've already got a thought about a player to be following at least one of those markets. We have completed our team by team guide. Do get subbed up to crickstats.ai using the code POD25. All the best cricket betting data at your fingertips, all filtered to do with the bookmakers' markets as well, such as player performance, most sixes, most fours for individual players, individual teams. Really great stuff in there. Sub up to that VIP channel in the comments section below. Loads of tips coming up this week as we await prices on this T20 World Cup. It starts on Saturday, of course, but we've got to the business end of the podcast. Richard and Paul are now going to name their winner and their runner-up. I don't think this is going to be a particular surprise, but I suspect we do actually have consensus. Let's go to Paul Krishnamurty first.
Yeah, I'll have India to beat England.
Right, India to beat England from Paul Krishnamurty. And Richard Mann.
No, I'm going left field. I'm going South Africa to beat England. I want to have a go at that sharp price.
Alrighty, we've got Bet365. Name the finalists: England versus India, 15-4. They go 9-2 for Richard's South Africa India final. This has been the Cricket Betting Podcast. We are going to be back throughout the tournament, and we're going to be on the VIP channel and the free channel in those comments sections below. You really do need to get involved. As I said, more bets coming up on those channels over the next few days as we build up to the first match of the tournament. This has been the Cricket Betting Podcast, and we will see you next time.